And the message was a little bit cryptic, but you know, the kind of call that I've been hoping for a while.
I'm Ryan Cernan, and you are watching Selling Seattle.
That's so fucking smart. That was really smart.
We're heading to New York City.
I don't give advice that I don't take. This is the moment.
It's basically, at a minimum, 6 videos a day. It's more realistically like 10. I say 6 because there's 6 platforms that we're making new videos for. And those 6 is based around that one daily video. Whether it's a daily V or keynote, if it's a daily V, how does that daily V play out in Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Snapchat?
Saying this is who we really are and reminding the rest of the company that we know who we were maybe 5 years ago. And even maybe reminding some of these guys over here that have gotten really comfortable that this is actually a roadmap, because he recognizes Twitch as a place where there's an audience to be had.
Tyler. This is Tyler, Gary V's top assistant. We're in his office, if you couldn't tell, getting a tour of VaynerMedia.
4 years ago when we first kind of really started working with Gary, it was him and one videographer. There's now 20 full-time people on the team and kind of managing that beast. And the biggest kind of project we're working on now is the sneakers that are coming out on Monday. And just doing the whole kind of campaign, which is a lot of the stuff I imagine you all went through today, but just like heavy influencer and culture kind of movement around trying to get them out and distribute it. So we've just kind of been all hands on deck, pumping out content for this bad boy.
Does it look bigger or smaller than it feels?
Smaller.
Always. One that actually processes kind of the transaction. But when we think about this whole kind of ecosystem, right, between website and email and Facebook and even in-person experiences or retail, this all plays. It's a big recycling sign, and they're all entry points for a consumer to enter our sphere. But when we understand how one feeds the other, then we have a better fundamental understanding of how this actual machine works. And that's really what we're trying to unpack today. In so many ways, is it's not one component. It's not I'm creating a YouTube series and that's the only place it's going to live. It's not I'm going to take active conversations on Twitter and only give people value on Twitter. It's really understanding full funnel and full cycle of a consumer, from how to connect the dots, right, for lack of a better term, between all of these, between the entire consumer journey from beginning to end, whether it's you're identifying a pain point on day one or a creative outlet they need, or a place where they're going to start their family and build a home, and figuring out what the need is up front, and then throughout that entire journey providing value. And I think utilizing 4Ds, I get to smile a little bit when we say that, and it's great because very thoughtful into each one of those positions along the way. We start by, and I think this will put it into great context, we start by running IG swipe up stories on Gary's page organically, right? And it drives to an Eventbrite page every time we announce a new date. So we'll get between 2,000 and 3,000 people to drive to page that have expressed interest willingly that date could potentially work for them. Once they get there, we can retarget with ads that talk about upcoming dates or reviews from people that have been in the room. And then knowing that the podcast is, when we think about a passive versus active audience, it's a very active audience. People that are engaged in the podcast are listening, and they're pretty locked into what they're listening to. And it's not like it's an ad where we're, by the way, it's a great price for inventory, but it's not like it's an ad like we're trying to sell a mattress, right? We're speaking to a genuine experience that somebody had while they interacted with them. So all of these things were really thought through throughout the entire process, and it's cool to kind of connect the dots in here with you and know that you were touched at that many different points along the way, because we've thought about it in that, because we know it's not going to be just Gary, right, without ever having a one-to-one experience that might convert you, and he does do that at times, but it's full funnel.
And then Ryan's going to be leaving me soon. Well, I got to help him find a job.
Thanks, guys.
It was nice meeting you guys.
Nice meeting you.
What do you think?
What do you think?
gather my thoughts. Empty my bladder. Man, that was like 9 hours of drinking from the fire hose. Honestly, I don't totally know what to think. Tons of takeaways, and I got to figure out how to apply them to what we're doing with the vlog, what we're doing with social, and with helping people buy and sell real estate. So I need a few hours to reflect on everything, but I think the biggest takeaway so far was that we can do more. We don't have to segment our message to different audiences. And probably looking at adding a new team member in the not too distant future. So it was fun to have some of those things confirmed by Gary himself. So super exciting day. It's time to wind down, grab a bite to eat, and reflect. We're back at the hotel room after the 4Ds experience all day. I think it was longer than I anticipated. It was almost 9 hours. Amazing, and we're going to talk more about that in a bit here. But I got a voicemail from someone at a Seattle-based home building company, and the message was a little bit cryptic, but you know, the kind of call that I've been hoping for a while. He's been seeing the stuff we've been putting out on Instagram and Facebook. In short, wanted to see if we can't figure out a way to work together. So, you know, who knows what that will turn into. But ultimately, it's super cool to know that people are seeing it, and people in my space, in the real estate space, see the value in what we're creating and want to see how that could synergize with what they're doing. So, yeah, pretty cool.